Maria, there's somebody else in the waiting room. Do you want me to admit them or?
No, I'm not gonna let them in yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Trump in the room.
Thank you.
Mom, how are boys hiding in there? But Mom, but why, Mom? Everybody else left. Hmm? Mom, why are those boys hiding? But I can't play because they're boys and they live in a family.
Good morning. This is cause number
I can't play.
2021-06642 in the interest of Aya and Elias Shahid Jackson. All parties, please raise your right hand to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, man. Please state your name and your relationship to the children.
My name is Khadidra Shahid, and I am their mother.
And representing the state.
Sharday Parker, Your Honor.
And Miss Shahid is on by telephonically. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The court will note that the non-custodial parent, Donald DeRay Jackson, is not present. He was personally served on March 30th, 2021 at 9:33 a.m. at 9717 Cypress Drive, apartment 1704 in Houston, Harris County, Texas. He's not filed an answer. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
He was given further notice of Zoom hearing by certified mail, return receipt requested. Which was delivered, well,
It was unclaimed, Your Honor.
unclaimed, all right, and returned June 21st.
Mommy, I can do my job by myself. Okay? Mommy? Mommy.
Let's proceed by default.
Your Honor, the state would like to call Ms. Shahid. Ms. Shahid, what is your full name?
My name is Khadidra Eileen Shahid.
Who is Aya Camille Shahid Jackson?
Aya Camille Shahid Jackson is my daughter.
What is her birth date?
Her birthday is 10/27/2014.
How old is she?
She is 6 years old.
Who is her father?
Her father is Donald DeRay Jackson.
How do you know that Donald DeRay Jackson is her father?
I know that Donald DeRay Jackson is her father because during the time of conception, I was exclusively with him, and he also signed a statement of paternity at the hospital.
And you're asking this court to establish a parent-child relationship between Aya Shahid Jackson and Donald DeRay Jackson.
That is correct.
Who is Elias Rashad Shahid Jackson?
Elias Rashad Shahid Jackson is my son.
What is his birth date?
His birthday is 8/11/2017.
How old is he?
He is 3 years old.
Who is his father?
His father is Donald DeRay Jackson.
And how do you know that Donald DeRay Jackson is his father?
Because I was exclusively with him at the time of Elias Elias's conception, and he signed a statement of paternity at the hospital.
And you're requesting this court establish a parent-child relationship between Elias Shaheed Jackson and Donald DeRay Jackson.
That is correct.
You're also requesting that you and Mr. Jackson be appointed as joint managing conservators.
That is correct.
And you're requesting that you be made the managing conservator with the exclusive right to designate the primary residence without regard to geographic restriction, correct?
That is correct.
And why are you requesting that a geographic restriction not be put in place?
I would like to, as work opportunities are presented, I would like the opportunity to explore those work opportunities. Additionally, his visits are infrequent and sporadic. They're not set, and they are few and far between.
And you're also requesting that he be given a standard possession order with a pickup and drop off to occur at a Walmart that's on Wilson and Beltway 8, and the address to that Walmart is listed in the order, correct?
That is correct.
And is that where, whenever he does visit now, even how infrequent it is, that's where he picks up the children now, correct?
That is correct.
And how are your children currently covered on health insurance?
The children are currently covered on health insurance through my employer, Channelview Independent School District.
And how long have they been covered on that health insurance through your employer, Channelview Independent School District?
They have been covered on that health insurance through Channelview since August 2019.
And, and how much is the medical insurance cost per month?
The medical insurance per month is $140.
And how much is the dental insurance per month?
The dental insurance per month is $20 per month.
And the costs you just listed are the costs for the children only, correct?
The costs that I just listed are the costs for the children only.
And you're also requesting that Mr. Jackson be ordered to reimburse you $140 per month for the medical insurance beginning on July 1st, 2021. Correct?
That is correct.
And you're also requesting that he be ordered to pay you $20 a month beginning on July 1st, 2021 as reimbursement for the dental insurance, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and to your knowledge, does Mr. Jackson have any other children?
To my knowledge, he does not have any other children.
And when did you and Mr. Jackson separate?
October 2018.
And since you and Mr. Jackson have separated, has he provided any financial support for the children?
He has not provided any financial support since we have separated.
And when you and Mr. Jackson were together, did you own a business together? Ms. Shaheed, did you hear me? When you were together with Mr. Jackson, did you guys own a business together?
Yes. When I was with Mr. Jackson, we did own a business together.
And what type of business was that?
It was a construction and flooring company.
And when was that business dissolved?
The business was dissolved December 2019.
And during that time, you were familiar with what Mr. Jackson was getting paid at that time, correct?
That is correct.
And what type of business was it that you and Mr. Jackson owned together?
We owned a construction and flooring company together.
And to your knowledge, does he still work in construction and flooring? Does he still work in construction and flooring now?
Take care. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He does still work in construction and flooring now.
And what exactly is his job? Like, what exactly does he do?
He is a commercial tile setter.
And do you currently know where he's employed or how he's employed?
Yes, he contracts for a company called Crime Art Finishes.
And when you and him owned the business together, did you have contracts with Quimar Finishes?
We did have contracts with Crime Art Finishes when we
And
owned the business together.
how much was he receiving from Quimar Finishes per month during that time?
He was receiving on about $6,000 a month.
On average, correct?
Yes, ma'am, on average.
And when you and Mr. Jackson were together, was his income ever lower than between $5,000 to $7,000 per month?
His income was never lower than between $5,000 and $7,000 per month when we were together.
And you're requesting that this court use $6,000 per month to set the current child support, correct?
That is correct.
And based on that $6,000 per month figure, the current child support would be $1,187 beginning on July 1st, 2021, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And you're also requesting that Mr. Jackson be ordered that would the court take a retroactive child support judgment from the period of November 1st, 2018 through today's date in the amount of $34,784 to be paid back at $224 per month beginning on July 1st, based on the median income of $6,000 per month, correct?
That is correct.
And you're also requesting that this court take a retroactive medical support judgment in the amount of $3,080 for the period between August 1st, 2019 and today's date to be paid back at $66 per month, correct?
That is correct.
Because you're also asking that they take a retroactive medical support judgment in the amount of $440 for the same time period to be paid back at $53 per month beginning on July 1st, 2021, correct?
That is correct.
That would be dental support.
I'm sorry, dental support, Your Honor. Yes, dental support. And Miss Shaheed, what are your concerns with your address or phone number being disclosed in this order?
My concerns with my address being available to him, there has been incidents of violence in the past and threats of violence, specifically around the time that we first split up. He pulled up to my house. This was after he moved out and muffed me with his hand. And he also threatened to come up to my job and harass me there. He called me all kind of explicit names, B's, H's, in front of my children. It scared them. It scared me. And I'm a teacher, so this is how I feed my kids. So I would prefer if he didn't know where I live, just to avoid all of that given his past behavior. I can't have any kind of sort of incidences of domestic violence or infractions threatening my teaching license. That's how I take care of my kids.
And he currently doesn't have access to your address, correct?
He does not currently have access to my address. When he picks up the children, he picks them up from the Walmart off Bellway 8 and Wilson Road.
Okay, and you're also requesting that he be responsible for 50% of all uncovered healthcare expenses, correct?
That is correct.
And you're requesting
Ms. Shaheed, if he knew your address, would he likely cause you or your children any harassment or abuse or serious harm or injury?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
And Ms. Shahid, are you also requesting that this court grant this default order?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And you believe this is in your children's best interest?
I believe it's in my children's best interest to grant the default order.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions for this witness.
All right, the court will approve the order submitted. Thank you.
Thank you,
Excused.
Your Honor. Okay, Miss
Thank you.
Shahid, you can hang up since you've already signed everything. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're gonna.
Mr. Lewis, can you unmute? Mr. Lewis, are you able to text Ms. Young and ask her to connect to audio? She hasn't connected yet, and so.
Hold on, my mom about to call you. My mom about to call.
Okay, thank you.
Man. Try yours phone. Try yours phone. Go. She on yours phone. She might block you.
Hello?
Oh, look, she doing.
Ms. Young, we'll be beginning the hearing shortly, and the judge will ask both of you to turn on your cameras, so you're going to need to be appropriate, as this is actual court, even though it's on the Zoom platform.
Okay, Mr. Turner, you handling the Lewis case?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
All right, we've got Lewis and Young.
What's up?
Miss Young, please. There we go. All right, this is Miss Young. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, this is code number 2020-81717. In the interest of Jorney Lewis, all parties, please raise your right hands to be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Miss Young?
Yeah, I do.
Miss Young, I didn't hear you. All right.
I do.
All right. Miss Young, please identify yourself and your relationship to the child.
My name is Jabora Young. I am the mother of Journey Lewis.
Excuse me.
Sir, please identify yourself and your relationship to the child.
My name is Akim Lewis. I'm the father of Journey Lewis.
And representing the state,
Marcella Turner.
we've got an original petition in a suit affecting parent-child relationship. with an acknowledgement of paternity. We're having a hearing, is that correct? Do we have any stipulations?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Do we have any stipulations?
We do. We do.
And the issues are going to be?
The issues are going to be the visitation and the retroactive child support. All other issues have been stipulated too.
All right. Please read those stipulations into the record.
The parties have agreed to joint managing conservatorship with the mother, Ms. Young, being designated as the conservator who determines the child's primary residence within Harris or any of the surrounding counties. The parties have also agreed that Mr. Lewis is to cover medical insurance through his employer. Both parties have agreed that there is no access to private dental insurance at a reasonable cost. The parties have also agreed to a monthly child support amount in the amount of $337 beginning July 1st of 2021. And the parties have agreed that there should be no non-disclosures regarding the address of the custodial parent, Ms. Young.
Any cash medical support?
The father is covering through his employer, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. And so the issue then is possession and access and retroactive child support.
That's correct.
Let's proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Young, the state would like to call Ms. Young. Ms. Young, did you hear the agreements that I read into the record, and were those your agreements?
Yes, I have.
And was that your
Ma'am, I
agreement?
cannot see you. Ma'am, I cannot see you. I'm looking at your fingernails or something.
I'm having trouble hearing the audio, so I have to hold the phone to my ear. So that's why you can't see me. I can't hear you guys.
All right.
It's going inside the head part of the phone and not the speaker for some reason. So I have to hold the mobile
you can't-
device to my ear to hear.
You can't turn your speaker on?
Yeah, the speaker is on, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
for some reason it's going into the headset and not the speaker.
All right, go
Try
ahead,
what?
Ms. Turner. Ms. Turner, go
Okay.
ahead.
And did anyone force you to make that agreement or those agreements?
No, no one did not.
And are you asking the court to approve of those agreements that you made prior to this hearing?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and
Mr.
Ms.
Lewis, is that also
Young,
your agreement? Mr. Lewis, are those also your agreements so far? Mr. Lewis?
Yes, sir.
Okay, those are your agreements so far, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
fine. Let's move on.
Thank you. Ms. Young, how old is the child before the court today?
She's 7.
And how often does the child visit her father, Mr. Lewis?
She doesn't. The grandmother, she visits her grandmother. The grandmother comes and I drop her off to her grandmother.
Okay, and does Mr. Lewis live with his mother?
The last reported thing from the grandmother, which was like 2 months ago, she stated that Mr. Lewis did not stay with her. And I have that in text as well, that she stated that he did not stay there.
Okay, Ms. Young, this is the father's mother,
So-
the paternal grandmother?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So when is the last time Mr. Lewis saw the child according to your knowledge?
I have no, I would have to ask my daughter. I have no, what that is of that, because all communication is through his mother, and she's the one who requests the child. So I bring my daughter to her house with her, and to the best of my knowledge, she's with the grandmother. So I have no form of communication with Mr. Lewis. I don't know when he sees her or when he does not. From what my daughter states,
Okay,
okay, Journey.
so has Mr. Lewis ever had your daughter overnight? Whether it was alone or, at his mother's house when he was in there, has he ever kept her overnight?
Yes, he has in the past.
And do you have any concerns with Mr. Lewis having a standard possession and access schedule, which allows him to have overnight visitations?
Yes, I do.
And why is that?
On one instance, Mr. Lewis, when we were communicating with each other to with transporting the child back and forth between parties, he called me one time and he stated that my child was lost, that he had lost her. And I don't feel that she's being properly supervised when she is in his possession. And I don't
Okay,
feel as if he's responsible.
and when did this incident take place where he called and said that he had lost her?
This was during 2020 or the end of 2019, I believe.
Okay, and since that incident, well, let me ask you this. How would you know whether or not he was the one who was being irresponsible with taking care of her if it's just testified that you have no knowledge as to when he last saw her? How would you know that it
That
was
was
him?
then. No, that was during that time when we were, like I said, during the time when we were transporting her back and forth between each other, that was during the time then. Ever since that incident, I have not called Mr. Lewis and say, hey, I need you to get Journey, or I have not physically given my daughter to him. I have always given my daughter to his mom. And she is to be held responsible for her during that time of the visit.
Okay, so is it safe to say that he essentially then the last time he saw the child was back in 2019 or 2020 when this incident took place?
I cannot say that because I don't know when the mom has him over at her house, being as though she says, oh, he's not staying here. And then next he'll be staying there. So I don't know what goes on over there at her house. So I can't tell you, oh, well, the last time he saw her was when I can't tell you that. I'm not sure what the mom does at her house.
Okay, so Ms. Young, let me rephrase this. You just testified that he called you back in 2019 or 2020 and told you that he had lost the child. So is it not safe to say that that was around or about the last time that he actually had the child?
It's my
How
understanding
would
that
you
she
be able?
does not know because he may have been seeing the child with the paternal grandmother.
That's what I'm stating.
Okay, maybe I just need to be clear on that. All right, and so what type of visitation are you asking for
I'm
regarding
asking
your child?
I'm asking that he can keep her overnight as long as it's with the mom. I'm more than comfortable with the mom you know watching her. However, I don't feel as if my child is in protection or in responsible hands when she's with the father. It's been plenty other
Okay.
instances that every time she's in his care, something comes up or she's in danger and he done left her to, yeah, so I don't feel comfortable.
Okay, so when you say you would prefer that the mother, the grandmother, paternal grandmother be present, how long are you asking this court to order that his visitation be supervised, seeing as though
And
this child is 7 years old?
until she's 10.
Okay, and so for an additional 3 years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then at that time period, would you feel comfortable with the child having overnight visits if the court should grant that?
Yes, I will. At the discretion at the time, depending on, if Mr. Lewis is responsible. I can't state, you know, depending on how things go.
Okay. So within the last 4 years, have you and Mr. Lewis lived together?
No, we have not.
And within the last 4 years, has Mr. Lewis been incarcerated for any amount of time,
I have
extending
no
over
knowledge of that.
9?
Oh,
And to
no.
your knowledge, your recollection, has Mr. Lewis been providing financially for your daughter within the last 4 years?
No, he have not.
Has he ever provided any type of clothing, shoes, or paid for anything, or is it just essentially that he's provided absolutely nothing?
His mom does.
Okay, so when you say his mom has provided something, what has she provided?
So when school starts, she does get the child's school supplies that is needed. She goes out of her way to do that. Also, yeah, that's pretty much what she does. Oh, and whenever I need her to watch my daughter, whenever I have to work, she'll if her schedule permits, she'll get my child. Also, yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so did we not have a previous conversation where you estimated that Mr. Lewis had at the very least, I mean, yeah, Mr. Lewis had at least provided
$600. Yes, I did.
$600 within the last 4
Yes, I
years?
did. Yes, I did.
Okay, so just to be clear, he has given something. Okay, and are you
When
willing to give him
requested,
credit for that $600 if this were? Okay, are you
yes.
willing to give him credit for that $600 if this court should order a retroactive judgment?
Yes.
No further questions for this witness. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Lewis, do you have any questions for Ms. Young? You need to unmute yourself,
Yeah,
sir. Right.
my question is, she said I didn't mind my child. I did take care of my child. My mom didn't
Sir,
give.
Mr. Lewis,
Hey,
Mr. Lewis, listen to me. Do you have any questions for Ms. Young? I'll let you say something later, but right now, do you have any questions for Ms. Young?
all right, man, continue, man, continue.
I didn't understand. Is that yes or no?
All I'm simply saying is how she could stop not minding my child when I
Sir, I am not
like,
asking you to say
man, what
something
is
right
I'm done.
now. All I'm
I
asking
have
you
no
to do is,
questions. I have no questions.
good. Okay, now, Ms. Turner, call your next witness. That's all I wanted to know, Mr. Lewis.
The state would like to call. The state would like to call Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis, could you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah,
Mr. Lewis, when is the last time you saw the child?
last week.
And was the child, was she released to your possession or was she released to your mother's possession?
This girl normally just drop the child off. I just hear Junior outside, pick up Junior, that's it. That's all I hear. Like I said, I have no really dealings with the mother. It
I'm
goes to my mom. I have nothing. All I just know is Junior outside. Junior's here. Junior's
okay,
coming.
Mr. Lewis,
That's it.
Mr. Lewis, please listen to the question and answer the question.
I'm answering the question.
No, it's a yes or no. Was the child released to your mother?
I said yes.
Okay, that's all. That was the answer.
Yes, boy.
Don't keep going. Okay, go ahead,
Boy.
Ms. Turner.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, how often do you see your child?
Every weekend because she always here.
Okay, and so when your child comes over, is it at your request or at your mother's request?
I have no understanding because my mother talks to she and I have no understanding. The child just pop up. I have no understanding of nothing. Every weekend the child always here. So I can answer that.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Mr. Lewis. Do you typically, so are you testifying that you don't essentially communicate with Ms. Young in regards to the visitation?
Every time I try to call the mother, I'm on the block list. So my mother always do the calling. I have no part because she always blocks me. I don't waste my time calling the mother. Like I have no, we don't speak because I'm on the block list. She don't talk on. She always goes through my mother. Everything I hear is from my mother. So I left as that. I don't keep on wasting my time calling the mother.
Have you attempted
I tried.
to contact Ms. that you,
I attempted. She don't pick up. It's always on the block list, so I don't waste my time. I just let my mother deliver
okay.
the message or whatever.
And Mr. Young, I'm sorry, Mr. Lewis, you have another child, is that correct?
Yes.
And does that child visit with you?
That child always said me, yes.
How old is that child?
2.
And so when that child visits, is that child spending overnight visits with you?
He always said yes.
And so when your other child is there, who cares for the child while she's or he or she is visiting with you, your other child?
My son, me.
So you're quite, would it be safe to say that you're quite capable of caring for a 7-year-old if you're capable of caring for a 2-year-old?
I've been caring for my 7-year-old and my 2-year-old, so it's not
I
a
have a
problem.
statement with
Ma'am,
that.
ma'am, it's not your turn right now.
And
Tell
so,
them,
Mr.
let ask you.
What type of visitation are you asking for today? Are you asking that your visitation not be supervised?
I only know all I'm gonna say I mind my child need a supervision for the tuition. I want the vision where we meet somewhere the mother have a for like every other we can have a for every other week. That's what I'm asking for. I'm asking so we can have that I forgot what it's called. It's like the dad have it for 1 week, the dad had it for 1 weekend, the mom has it
Standard
for the
possession and
yes.
access schedule?
I would like that visitation. That's what I'm asking for.
And so you're not wanting for your visitation to be supervised,
I
correct?
don't need my vision to be supervised because I've been taking care of Junior ever since Junior was a baby. So I don't know where all this supervision stuff coming from. Like, no, I don't understand that, but I'm saying I'm denying that request.
Okay. And so within the last 4 years, have you provided financially for your daughter?
Yes, I did. My mom was the one. Okay, so I would just say this. I was I didn't have a green card or whatever. I wasn't able to work, but my mom been providing for my daughter ever since day one. And she been doing that. She been giving Jabara money out of pockets. She been doing that from day one. Like I hasn't physically done it because I wasn't able to work. I didn't have a green card. When I got my green card, I started working. But my mom been doing that, and she's the one who been giving Jabara the money, not me. I haven't been. I will say I haven't given Jabara, but the money was coming from my mom to Jabara because I wasn't working. My
Okay,
mom is the
so
one who
when
was
did you
giving her
get
money.
your okay, so when did you get your green card and you were
When
able to start
when I
working? Do
started
you
working
remember
at
the
United, 2019, that's when I started working at United, and the money used to go to my mom, to Jabbar, because we had no dealings. Like I said, I have no communication with this girl. I just do everything to my mom. Everything goes to my mom. So
Okay, so when you do send money, you give it to your mother and your
yes,
mother gives the money to Miss Young.
yes. Well, she will call and say she needs some money.
Okay,
My
so
mom will just sell a meter by Walmart. Or I just see my mom just started cashing her money like this because my mom just download Cash App like a month or 2 months, something like that ago. So she just started doing a Cash App. But before it would be like meet her to Walmart, meet her there, or she'll come to the house and pick up the money ever since. So
okay, and so if you had to estimate how much you have provided for the child financially or since you started working in 2019, how much would you say you've provided
well,
monetarily?
ever since Johnny was born, I've been taking care of her. So and when I started working, she was on my insurance at United for the
All right,
year.
Mr. Lewis,
What's up?
in the last 4 years, how much
Mm-hmm.
money have you provided for the support of the child?
But the last 4 years, I've been giving my mom money to give her like she'll get 200 or 100 or 100. She'll get 100. Sometimes Jabal call and say she need 200 to buy clothes. We will give her the 200 to buy the clothes or whatever. My mom will do it. So it goes to my mom to Jabal. Like I've been giving thing. I know probably like 3 4 months she didn't call or something like that for no money, which I could agree to that. She didn't call. But it
Okay,
always goes to my mom for her.
Mr. Lewis, I'll ask the question again. How much
I can't
money?
keep a track on it. I can't keep a track on how much I care for. I just
You
I
don't
can't
know. You don't know how much.
I don't know because I've been giving it to my I don't know. I won't keep track of those things.
Well, if you don't know how much, then I won't know how much, right?
Could you
Yeah.
estimate, Mr. Lewis?
Ma, how much you been getting this girl? How much you been holding? My mother, like, how much you been getting this girl, please? Don't need a number. School supply, everything. How much you been getting this girl? Everything, Jane, everybody. How much you been getting she?
With all the clothes and everything that you buy.
Everything, how much you been getting she? Yes, how much you been getting she? 5,000, how much? Give my number. My mother live normal. She tell me so that she get brain freeze.
All right, Mr. Lewis, can we swear your mother in and she can testify?
Hold on.
Yes.
Ma'am, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Do you know how much your son has given you for the support of this child,
Okay.
to help this child in the last 4 years? About.
Okay, let's say since he started to work to now, I say about 2,000 because with 2,000, 3,000, because every time that I give Jabbar money, I will take it back from my son. I take back the money from my son. I tell him I give him money and I take it back from him. It may be
Okay,
more.
so you
Okay,
think it
if you want to say, okay, let me ask a question. Does that include like clothes and if you buy shoes and like anything, everything?
Yes,
Does that
ma'am.
include everything, school supplies?
Everything include.
Last 4 years, I would say about 4,000. That'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions for Miss the paternal grandmother, Miss Young? Do you have any questions for her?
Okay, could I say something?
And my question is in regards to, she stated that it will be like $3,000 or $4,000, and she stated about clothes and shoes. So with those clothes and shoes that you're talking about, as far as providing support, is that support at you guys' house or here where Journey is? That's when she's in your care at your house. That's
Oh,
what you
okay,
have over there for
okay.
her.
Miss Young, what you're saying is that he may have bought some shoes and some clothes, but they stay at the grandmother's house. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's not in my
Okay, is
possession.
that
Everything that's
correct,
here.
Miss Lewis? In other words, they don't go to the mother's house. They stay with you. Is that correct?
No. Sometimes if she wants something, it goes to the mother. The clothes, most of the clothes stay here. But lately, if she wants something like, I will give her money to buy it.
All
And
right.
she,
So how much money have you given her to buy things?
between 4 years,
Yes.
that's why I say about three or $2,000. I'm not too sure. I can't really calculate, sir. I honestly saying I can't really calculate. I never really keep track of that. But I never really keep track.
What is your best guess? She said $600.
I'll be no 600.
No, it can't be. That mean what she me talking about when my son gave her personally, right? That mean what she talking about my son personally. But if
Sir,
she talk me,
ma'am, how much money that your son has given to you have you given to Miss Young?
okay, about 2,000. I was about 2,000 plus 2,000.
2,000. In other
Yeah,
words, $500 a year, more or less.
yeah, about that. If about that,
That's
and that
cash you've given her. Is that
no that.
correct?
Okay, like if we buy something for her, right?
Yeah.
Cash?
I give you money to get what you asking me.
No, not really.
Sir, nobody's talking to you, sir.
Akim.
Sir, you keep quiet. I'm speaking to your mother.
Mhm.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Ma'am, ask your son to keep quiet
Okay,
because
so
I can't hear you. I
okay.
can't hear you if he's yelling in the background, okay?
It pisses me off, man.
So, Mr. Lewis, you can either keep quiet or I can find you contempt of court and maybe send the sheriff over to arrest you and put you in jail. So please keep quiet. You'll have an opportunity to speak, Mr. Lewis. Right now, your mother is speaking, okay? Okay, Miss Lewis, is your last name Lewis, ma'am?
No, I'm Russo.
Okay, ma'am,
Yeah.
how much money do you think that you have given, that your son has given you, and then you've in turn given it to the mother of the child in the
If
last 4 years?
that's 4 years, I would say well buy that includes okay, money concerning books and everything, right? Let's
Yes.
let's say about 2,000, nothing more than that.
Okay. Miss Young, do you have any other questions for the mother?
I do not.
Could I say something, sir?
Not yet.
Okay.
Miss Turner, do you have any questions for the mother?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have one question for you. Miss, is it Omarosa?
I'm Russo.
Amoroso.
Ms. Amoroso, the time period that you're referring to that the money was given to Miss Young for the child, was that just in the total last 4 years or since your son has been able to work in 2019?
Um, I would say that maybe since, okay, after a year after he started work, yeah, a year before he started work or something like that, because oh,
So like
what
around
boy?
2018?
Okay, I am not saying okay. All I want Miss Young know, all I want Miss Jabara know as a scholar is that I'm not talking about money alone. I'm talking about if we buy something for her, right? That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
So okay, so I don't want you to say it's cash I give her in her hand. So yeah, so but I have always been there, so I can already calculate, ma'am. I have always been
Okay.
there from day one, so I can already calculate and say anything. You understand? I have always
Okay.
been a
And
grandmother, grandmother. I
let,
can already
let
say
me
that.
ask let me ask you this. Do you keep the clothing at your house because the child is there every weekend?
Yes, most of the clothing stay here, but lately, I remember we had sent over some clothes for her. We had bought some clothes and sent over when she was younger, right? But
Mm-hmm.
lately, I start like if she want Jabbar call and say she want to buy some clothes or she want to buy this for Journey, I would like give her the money and I would tell the dad and tell him, oh, you have to give me back my money, and he will give me back my money. Okay, so
Okay. So
yeah,
the question is the child there every weekend though?
um, Journey is always here, but lately she kept her away. But Journey is always here. I have a lot of proof to show that Journey is always by me. Okay, but
Okay.
maybe when this thing started, Journey started staying away. When Jabara and Akim, this child support thing come, Journey started staying away. But Journey is always by me on the weekend. But she and the dad had fallout one weekend, and that's when Journey stopped, didn't come. So I'm not gonna lie for
No.
myself or hide anything a thing. You understand? My son takes care of Journey when I'm not here because I work on a Saturday. And he is the one taking care of Journey when I'm not here. Okay, my son, yes, I had text Shabara and tell her my son leave because we had a fallout, and I told him he had to leave. But eventually he came back. Okay, so my
I have
son,
a
Okay.
statement.
yeah,
No
go ahead.
further questions for this witness.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Young, do you have any further questions for?
Yes, Miss Amoruso stated that I withheld the child due to a falling out. So I have a statement with that, and this goes also into why
Oh, okay.
with the visit.
Do you have a question for her, please? I'm going to let you say
Yes, I
something
do.
later also. Okay. Ask the
Yes,
question.
I do. So, Miss Amoruso, are you stating that I'm withholding a child, or is it because of the violence between you and your son that's at the household? And I explained to you and expressed to you that I didn't want Journey over there with you guys fighting and him putting his hands on you.
Okay,
Do you
Shabara.
deny that?
Akim hasn't put his hands on me. I wouldn't lie for Akim because if he did, I would call the cops. He hasn't put his hands on me. We had fallen out, yes, when me and Akim be loud and stuff. But when it comes to putting his hands on me,
I
he would
have text
not.
messages.
You have text messages, but I never told you that Akim put his hands on me. Akim would never put his hands on me.
Journey
All
is
right,
here and she
Mr.
states that she saw him put his hands on you.
Johnny saw Akim put
Miss
his hands on
Young,
me.
Miss Young, do you have another question for her?
Whatever the one that she get.
No, I have no further questions. I have nothing else to say.
No,
All right, Mr. Lewis,
Akim is
do you
back
have
here.
any do you have any questions for your mother?
I ain't got no question, so
Okay, hear what I have
To
to
the
say. Now.
mother.
Hear what I have to say.
I have no question. So whatever. I'm listening.
Did he say he has no questions?
I have no questions. Yes, I have no
He
questions.
said
Okay.
he has no questions.
Okay.
He's listening.
All right. All right. Now we were back in the process of Miss Turner, uh, direct examination of Mr. Lewis. Do you have any further questions?
No further questions, Your Honor. The witness.
All right, Miss Young, do you have any questions of Mr. Lewis?
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Lewis, do you have something now that you want to say?
What the mother asking for this visitation? Like, She can keep journey or whatever. I don't care how much is the child support I'll pay it, and let me just get it over it. I'm done with the whole situation because I ain't got time for it, to be honest.
All right, Miss Young, do you have anything further you wish
I
to
really don't have
say?
time for it.
I do not have anything further to say.
All right, Miss Turner, anything further?
Your Honor, the state would just ask that the court make a determination regarding the visitation and the retroactive child support, and based off of the testimony provided by both
Not possible.
parties,
This is stupid.
which way the court would go if the court would allow for credits for financial support or clothing that has been provided for the child. Considering the age of the child being 7 years old, the state would suggest that a standard possession and access order would be appropriate, as there, in my opinion, has not been really any testimony to warrant this child's visitation to be supervised by the mother. And based off of the paternal grandmother's own testimony, the child has been allowed to go over to the house on several weekends prior to this process even taking place. And
She
regardless,
also stated that, didn't she?
I'm
She
sorry, Your
also
Honor,
Wait a
I'm
stated
in
minute,
the
wait,
that.
middle.
wait a minute, ma'am. Go ahead, Miss Turner.
And regardless of whether or not Ms. Young has personal firsthand knowledge as to whether or not it is Mr. Lewis keeping the child, the fact still remains that Mr. Lewis lives at home with the mother and the child, I'm sorry, with his mother, and the child is being allowed to spend several weekends at a time at that home. And so I would think that
But
at
the
some
mom
point,
also stated that she told me that she kicked
before,
him out. Did she
Your
not?
Honor,
All
Your
right,
Honor,
You
I'm
text
in the
that you
middle
did.
of speaking.
Yeah, you know the text
Miss
that.
Miss Young, let me ask you a
It's done.
question. Does
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lewis know where you live?
No, he does not at the moment.
And are you asking that he not be given your address and phone number?
Yes, I did ask Miss Turner in the beginning that I did not want him to be aware of where I stated. She
Vice
told me
And
versa.
why
that
is that? And why is that?
because me and Mr. Lewis have previous violence issues. When he does not get his way, when things do, he gets in goes into like these little tantrums where he want to put his hands on people, and it's just unacceptable.
Your Honor, and let me clarify for
Okay.
the record, we did have that conversation, and Ms. Young filled out a family violence removal form, which her signature is on, and I told her on several occasions, make sure you read the form. If you agree, sign it. If you do not, let me know, and we will have a hearing. She stated to me that she read it, she understood, and she provided her signature. And so therefore, the non-disclosure as to her address was supposed to be off of the table, as we discussed and she stipulated to at the beginning of this hearing. So I want to be very clear about that.
And
All
can you
right.
also be very clear about the fact that you pestered me into it after you told me that, oh, well, being
Your
as though
Honor,
you haven't
Wait
had.
a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You know, I'm hearing Miss Young, if Mr. Lewis knows your address, is he likely to cause you or your child any harassment, abuse, serious harm, or injury?
As stated to Ms. Turner before, Mr. Lewis is unpredictable. Yes,
The
I do
answer,
feel that he is.
yes, you think so.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
I think so.
Now, is there any problem with the pickup and delivery of the child being at the paternal grandmother's house?
When it's
I don't want.
communication with the, I'm sorry,
Ma'am?
what you said, can you repeat that again?
All right. During these visitation periods, would the exchange be
No,
convenient to be
no.
at the
Then
paternal
when?
grandmother's
No,
house?
It'll be convenient
no,
through the grandmother.
no.
Okay.
I don't want no shooting around me.
Pick up and deliver.
No. I put some shit in place and putting it. I put an end to all this right now. But if I end to all this right now.
All right. The court finds it best to the child to have the father have standard possession order. Non-disclosure is granted. Pick up and deliver
I
to
got
be
some
at
of the
the paternal grandmother's residence. Retroactive child support judgment in the amount of $10,000 to be paid at the rate of $100 a month, beginning July 1st, 2021. All other stipulations are approved.
I got something to say.
You may order, please.
Hello.
Remain in order,
Your Honor.
please.
May we be excused?
You're
Please.
excused. Yes,
Man,
you're
what's up?
excused.
Man,